Let's chat commodities now, where we have started the day on a positive note. This is especially coming in from the global cues, where the U.S. president seems to have softened his stance on the China trade tariffs, even talking about extending the deadline from March 1st to forward. And that really seemed to have helped all the asset classes overnight. So whether it has been equities, currencies or commodities, we have seen some strength come back into all of that. The dollar index that we just showed you, remember, we were trading at about 97 plus kind of levels yesterday. But that's seen a decline there and very flat moves coming in on right now on that one. The crude oil prices, that gained 3% overnight. We've seen nearly a percentage point of gains come in across board for that one. And there is trend that has continued for the metal prices, for the precious metal space as well. Preetham Kumar Patnaik from Reliance Commodities now joins us to put further light on that. Preetham, hi, good to have you. What is your sense that you're making from the U.S. President conversation or statements rather? The U.S. and China third round of trade talks begins tomorrow. It's a two-day talk and the markets ahead of that really seem to be getting into a risk appetite mode. How much of that do you see lasting longer? Do you see yet another couple of days actually in that light? And how would you look at the crude oil prices then?
So, interestingly, Manisha, you're absolutely right. These two very factors, had led to the correction of crude oil a few days back. And, they've got optimism back into this market. So this market is going to look at how the trade talks kind of develop. And more than the trade talks, the market will also be a little conscious about what are the kind of statements which come out of these talks. And specifically for what Mr. Trump says, right? That will be very closely watched. My sense is that the rally in crude oil has predominantly happened because there's an optimism built in saying that if the trade talks do go through, which I think that the US has made up a mind to try and kind of work it out because, with the Trump administration showing some bit of flexibility and saying that they are ready to extend the deadline, shows a resolution or a resolve to try and get a solution rather than, be more confrontationalist, which used to be the trend going, in the earlier days. Now, given that fact, we do expect some, positive signals to keep coming, and that will be kind of supportive for crude oil going forward, right? And to add to that, you've also seen that the OPEC nations, specifically Saudi Arabia, said that they are going ahead with more than required cuts in production, and that is going to only add to the bullishness in the crude oil prices. So, as a group, we feel that, in the next few days, we will hear statements which could be more positive in tone.
Sure.
And that's why we've given a buy call on crude for the moment.
All right, Preetham, we'll have to let you go at that. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the view, of course, coming in for the energy space. Much of those cues will come in from the US-China trade talk.
Sure.
With that, it's a wrap up on this edition of Closing Bell. Thank you for watching.